My Dave Brown's back, and there's going to be trouble. Hey, love. Hey, love. My Dave Brown is back. And today we're celebrating by finishing the Twins off season in 5 moves or less. This is Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, and welcome back to Locked On Twins. I'm your host, Brandon Warren, and you can unfollow me on Twitter at Brandon_WARNE. And back in the fold, back in the fray, back in the thick of things is Dave Brown at Answer Dave Brown on the Twitter machine. Dave, how are we doing tonight?
I hope you missed me, but I'm back and rejuvenated, renovated, reciprocated, ready to go.
Perfect. We had on Monday evening Howard Sinker of the Minneapolis Star-Tribune not really revealing because it was already public knowledge, but going over his ballot of 9 players he voted for. And Dave Brown, you would have been upset. He did not have not only Chase Utley, but also Bobby Abreu.
A lot of people don't have those guys. And, I don't want to besmirch anybody's character for not voting for those guys, but I think given another chance, maybe they would some other time. That's all I'll say about it.
Yeah, that actually appeared to be the case with our friend Howard. Go back and listen to that if you're interested in Hall of Fame discourse, which is going to ramp up here as votes are tabulated and some more votes or ballots rather come in to Ryan Thibodeau on his tracker. Thanks again for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. We're part of Locked On Sports 2, which is your team every day. Also, again, love to see you guys active in the comments. 5-star reviews, thumbs up, likes in the comments on YouTube, all that fun stuff. Hit the subscribe button on Apple Pods, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We would love to hear from you. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. One more thing. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. All right, Dave. The assignment, what is it? The blank, if you choose to accept it. What is the word that I'm missing there?
No, I think it's the assignment. If you choose to accept it, I don't think there's a word you're missing. I think that the rest of it is just whatever the assignment is.
I didn't really leave you much chance to not accept it, but we're gonna finish off the Twins off season in 5 moves or less. 5 moves or fewer. I couldn't decide if it was less or fewer. Fewer sounds better, but I'm not sure fewer is right.
I think it's fewer.
Okay. Well, if you see this on the screen and it says less, rest assured I will be changing it before publication.
It does say less.
No, I know it says less. I'm talking about to the listeners, not you, Dave Brown.
Oh.
So we had talked about 5 moves or less. You did fewer than 5 moves.
I did.
Quite a few fewer than.
Well, not
5.
that much. Only 60% fewer.
Yeah.
Remember, I had so many New Year's resolutions that I went over. This way,
Okay.
I wanted to even things out a little bit.
That's fair. All right. Well, I'm going to start at the bottom, or rather the least exciting moves. And I might have to go through a couple of these before you get to yours, because apparently you're bringing the house down. So my first move would be to sign reliever Shintaro Fujinami to a 1-year deal. Yeah. So 1-year deal, or it would have to be 1 because he's got arbitration eligibility left. Now, with that said, he became a free agent. It's kind of hard to figure out if it was. So I don't know. Maybe he's got something in his deal where he can't, like he's got free agent eligibility right away. Which in that case, I mean, I'm still only giving him a 1-year deal. His numbers last year were atrocious, at least with the A's, and he kind of started to figure some things out.
I think his contract situation, and this is just me doing some deduction. I don't know for a fact. I haven't read the contract. Since he came over, he was one of the guys that came over from Japan. So when they do that, they don't want to be necessarily subject to being owned basically by the league for 6 years, like someone coming up from a draft or college. So I think when he signed his deal with the A's, there was something in there about, well, if you get traded, or even if you don't get traded, the next year you're a free agent since we're only signing you for 1 year. I think it has something to do with that. So it's a good personal freedom issue.
Yeah, and I kind of assumed that was the case. He will be 30 on April 12th. April 12th, 1994 doesn't seem that long ago, Dave.
Oh, time, it's amazing when you get older how much time, time flies, whether you're having fun or not. But when you get older, time flies twice as fast. It's crazy.
So, it's so hard to deduce what exactly was going on with Fujinami. So he made some starts and got absolutely pasted. But you look at his season numbers: 79 innings, 9.46 strikeouts per 9, 5.13 walks per 9, 1.03 homers per 9. That's Josh Stalmont type numbers from the just generally speaking. And actually, the contract that I suggested is either the same as him, a minor league deal if possible, but basically get him in, coach him up, and figure it out. It's an organization who has done that with guys like Brock Stewart, who is coming back from injury and got back into form, looks better than ever. So I think that's a good selling point for the Twins. And here's what I really don't know what to make of with Fujinami. A 53.4% strand rate, like just atrociously low strand rate.
That's some bad luck.
Well, and what's the league average there? I want to say it's like 70%, but I would have to go look.
Say somewhere in the 70s.
Yeah. So positive, or just any what we call regression, but in the positive direction.
Progression.
Yeah, right. And so he throws the piss out of the ball, to steal a term. 98.5 average on his fastball, was up as high as 99 on average with the Orioles, or 98.9. 7.18 ERA. And you'll see Twins fans especially will see that and say, oh, they're dumpster diving again. Which is, one, rude because you shouldn't call people trash, but two, not exactly the case. 4.80 xERA, 4.61 FIP, 5.05 xFIP. Again, none of those are going to make you get all that excited. But to me, there's something here as, probably a front end of the bullpen guy, and it's going to fit into the budget.
For sure. He's one of those guys that, how people will complain, usually to people who are considered statistically analytical. Did you watch any of the games? That's kind of a thing. No, I don't watch the games. I just sit there with a calculator.
Just doing my own research over here.
But he's a guy, like, if you follow the Pitching Ninja dude on Twitter or wherever, he had him a lot. He showcased him a lot after he moved over to the Orioles. It's sort of like watching Justin Fields play quarterback. You watch like individual plays that other people don't make, and you go, wow, what potential. So there is definitely something there. What we don't know, what I don't know, I don't want to speak for you or anybody else. What I don't know is when he came over to the A's, were the A's not giving him good instruction? That could be. Was he just taking a while to adjust to baseball in a new hemisphere? Could be. Did the Orioles really have something when they put him in the bullpen? They put him in the bullpen down the stretch, and he was. It seemed like a pretty medium or high leverage reliever in the middle or late innings, kind of in a Stalmont way. You mentioned him earlier. So what's going on? Is he a guy where that is going to be his limit? And even if he were, That's not bad. I mean, some of the things that he showed in a short time with the Orioles were really intriguing. You can see where the A's or anybody else would have looked at video or even gone to games and watched him pitch and think, this guy's got great stuff.
Yep.
And he obviously does. And so I don't know if you're thinking about bringing him in as a starter or a reliever.
Reliever.
So we're sticking with Louis Varland in the rotation, I guess.
No, don't spoil it for me. I got 4 more moves left.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Step all over Louis or your Louis predictions.
No, it's all good.
So, but I love the idea of bringing him in for any reason. And if the Twins can like resurrect whatever he was as a starter, that's even better. But as a relief pitcher, he's also extremely intriguing. I'm excited about this move, even though it's just you and me talking.
Well, hey, that's good. Let's talk quick about our friends at FanDuel. We'll come back and we'll bang out the rest of this. But first, again, our friends at FanDuel. And it is really starting to get chilly here in the Twin Cities. We're down to feels colder, it says on my screen. So we'll call that a temperature, I guess. But as the weather continues to get colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. We're heading into the final week of the regular season. So right now is the perfect time to be a new customer who gets $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time than right now to get in on the action. The app is unbelievably easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, overs, unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. Again, that is $150 if your team wins, or if the team you pick, which may or may not happen to be facing the Vikings, like the Lions in Week 18. If that team wins, $150 in bonus bets. So check it out at FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel is an official partner of the NFL. All right, we're back here into the bullpen. And what do you say? Should I do one more before I let you do your first?
Yeah, go ahead. What's your next move?
Sign Harrison Bader. Now, I'm saying a 1-year deal for $6 million. I don't know if that gets it done. It might be low. It's more than he made last year, but last year he was not a free agent eligible. He only played in 98 games. He was worth 1.0 wins or 1 win per Fangraphs WAR. Has not posted an OBP above 300 since 2021. An interesting power speed combo who kind of swings at everything. But ultimately what you would be doing here is recreating Michael A. Taylor, but at a younger age. Now, he's an incredible defender, 56.5 runs above replacement for his career, according to Fangraphs, and only 1 run above average offensively. But he has shown enough in spurts to make you think, he could be a 15-15 guy if everything broke right. Now, if everything breaks right, maybe he doesn't play enough to get that. But I think Harrison Bader gives you enough of a, he can push as far as Byron Buxton's health allows and vice versa. You will not feel bad if Harrison Bader only gets into 85 games for you because Byron Buxton was healthy.
I like this move too. I've always kind of liked Bader, maybe a little bit more than I should. It seemed like that he was getting into 2021. He'd had pretty good offensive seasons in like 3 of his 4 years in the majors. Yep. So over, more than 100 OPS plus coming in. And then in 2022 and 23, it's just been lots of injuries. Last year, he had really bad luck. He started, I think, with an oblique injury in spring training and then had a hamstring and was never really healthy in an attempt to kind of rebound after his down year in 2022. So, there's a lot of incentives you can put into that contract offer for him. Mm-hmm. It's a guy who definitely can, as long as he's not hobbling around, can play center field. He's not a power dude, but he can run a little bit and he's got a little power. I would like that move. I would expect him to hit at least as well as Michael Taylor, if not more, if he's healthy. So I think that's the thing there. Is he healthy?
What do you make?
What?
Well, the last 2 years, he struck out 19.8% of the time and 17.2% of the time. So to the uninitiated or, people listening that maybe aren't used to how that's framed, I think league average is like in the 24, 25 range, about once every 4 plate appearances.
Which is good because he's not going to be a guy that's going to go out and try. I think his career high 16 home runs, 21 doubles. So he's not a guy. He shouldn't be striking out that much. I mean, because he's not going to hit that many home runs.
But he's built to hit the ball. If you look at Michael A. Taylor, he's a pretty thin, kind of rail thin guy that you maybe wouldn't expect to get into as many balls as he did last year, over 20 homers career high. But when I look at Bader, I look at a guy who I think could hulk up and hit. It wouldn't be unreasonable for him to hulk up and stay healthy and hit 20 homers in a year.
Hit 20 home runs, maybe steal 20 bases too, if his legs are
That's
sound.
Huge with his defense.
It would be. He'd be. He's right-handed bat. I'm not sure what his splits are against.
I'll get you. I'll look.
I know that the Twins are kind of looking for right-handed bats, but these are two moves that you've brought up so far that I would not be against.
Oh, get this.
No matter what they do with the rest of the roster.
His career weighted runs created plus against. Oh no, that was 2023. I got to get the career. I had this last year. He had a weighted runs created plus of like 153 against lefties.
Oh wow!
Which 121 for his career. So he's a career 262, 330, 494 hitter against righties rather, or no, against lefties as a righty. Sorry, I'm reading it.
So that's something that would help
immensely.
What the Twins are interested in doing.
Immensely, and you have him maybe start in a corner to shield Matt Wallner, Trevor Larnach, whoever. That's a good trump card to have in your pocket. And then beyond that, just the defensive value means he could play for an extended period of time if Byron Buxton was not capable of playing center.
He's a guy too. I mean, he was looking forward to playing with the Yankees because he grew up just not very far from Yankee Stadium. Mm-hmm. I think in Bronxville, I want to say, or maybe the Bronx. I don't remember exactly, but he was looking forward to doing that. It kind of bothered him that he couldn't, but make good on that. But he's a guy his best success came with the Cardinals. That atmosphere, it's a little like what the Twins have going just in terms of the visuals. I don't know if the pressure of the Cardinals are like a small town with a big town pressure of doing well, I think. But aesthetically, I think he would be reminded a little bit of the success that he had with the Cardinals if he was playing games at Target Field. I think that would be an upside to him.
Let me do one more because then we can go 1 for 1 the rest of the way. How does that sound?
Yeah.
I'm signing Carlos Santana to a 1-year deal for $6 million.
Good clubhouse guy, great socks.
League average hitter, pretty good defensive first baseman, can DH, switch hitter. At an age where, again, a 1-year deal would be perfectly reasonable. He has already played in Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, a bunch of places, Kansas City that are not crazy desirable. Oh, by the way, he started in Cleveland. So it's not as though this is a guy you're going to have to convince to ride out his career in a city he's going to be miserable. He should be perfectly delighted to come to Minnesota if the money's right. And it gives you a nice insurance policy on Alex Kirilloff, a nice platoon partner for Alex Kirilloff from the right side. And just for vibes purposes, you could do worse.
He's a switch hitter, but he's better against left-handed. I think he's a switch hitter, but he's better against left-handed pitchers over his career by a significant margin. So he fits in that respect too. So he's got a lot of things going for him, even though he's 37 going on. He turns 38. Yikes. On April 8th. So he's getting up there, but at this point, he's a 1-year contract guy, no matter where he goes. That's not going to be a thing that he's really going to negotiate away. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, especially if there's no Donovan Solano.
That's the alternative. Yeah, that's the alternative for me.
So if Solano isn't coming back, he's a couple of years younger, I think Solano is, at least.
Oh, yeah.
So that might be But Santana's got history and gravitas, and he'll fit in that respect. So he's got some upside to him other than the stats.
All right, hit me with your first move.
Well, it's free agency, so I don't know if it's going to happen. Give $70 million over 3 years to Teoscar Hernandez and put him on a corner. Right-handed hitter, coming off a down season with the Mariners. That's a hard place to hit, though, and accumulate any numbers if you get into a slump. As lots of players in the Mariners, it's hard to kind of drag yourself out of that. So I'm going for a guy who is, a right-handed power source who the Twins could afford if they wanted to spend some money. I think the predictions have been something like 4 years, 80 or 85 million. Maybe we knock off a year, we give him a little more annual average, and can persuade him to come to the Twins and play left field or right field.
So what differs him from someone like Jorge Soler?
I think I'd have to look, but my first thought would be he's a little better on defense.
Yeah,
I don't know for a fact that that's true, actually, now that you mention it. And I think Soler, I feel like Soler is going to be more expensive. Right. He's a little cheaper. And maybe, I don't know if Soler is going to be strict. No, I want a 3-year deal, because he's been kind of a 1 or 2 year deal guy lately. But so that that I'm thinking maybe he's a little better on defense. I'm not sure about I think his throwing arm is better. I'm not 100% sure about all the ways he compares to Jorge Soler. I'd be in favor of Jorge Soler too, but I think he'd cost a little more money.
So if you were to sell Teoscar to Twins fans, who would you compare him to, or how would you put it into context where Twins fans would get on board with it?
It's a great question. I don't know that I'm ready with an answer for that. I would just say
they need right-handed power. They need right-handed pop. There's no
I would stick with that part. I mean, I'm not sure about. I'm trying to think of examples of Twins players through the years who've been kind of like him. And
Josh Willingham at his best. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe a little bit better defensively, but that's not a bad one. I would say
he was great that first year, and then got hurt the second year stealing a base or something.
Yeah,
which
right.
Makes no sense at all.
Right. So I would say he's coming off. He's got something to prove.
Yeah.
He's coming off a down season relatively with Seattle, but again, I think some of that might be the fact that that's a difficult place to play, and if you get off to a tough start there, it's hard to dig yourself out of it. So target field might open him up a little bit more. So
it'd be interesting to see him hitting the ball into left field at target field, as we saw Willingham do, we saw Nelson Cruz do, we saw. A handful of guys really have been good at it.
You're doing a good job of selling him. Thank you.
Hey, you bet. That's what I'm here for.
So there's that, and then there's a companion move to that.
Okay, well, I want to jump in first because I got a lesser move, and I don't want you to steal all my thunder. I'm bringing in Matthew Boyd, $8 million for 1 year. If though that is too expensive, cut that in half and give it to Carlos Carrasco, who both of whom we talked about when we spoke most recently. Bringing different things to the table. Carrasco is just, if he doesn't do well in spring training, you cut him and you move on. He has relieved in the past. He's at a point in his career where you could easily sell him on, hey, come here. We'll find a role for you. We're going to win some ball games, and it could be a good way to, spend your twilight of your career. But with Boyd, it gives you, again, a lefty stuff, potential, even though he's been injured and he's not super duper young, but there's still, room for him to be better than he has. So that would be my back end starter option. What's your final move?
And not too much. You kind of mentioned it. Not too much tread on the tire, and not too much tread loss.
Exactly
on the tire.
And we talked about both those guys extensively.
If we're bringing in Teoscar Hernandez, then the Twins are going to have to make a move with one of their extra outfielders. So I'm sending Jorge Polanco and Matt Wallner to the Mariners for Bryce Miller, and putting Bryce Miller into the rotation, and hoping that we're going to see a situation where they can sort of take him from a guy who's just getting into the league, sort of like Jorge, or sort of like Lopez, not Jorge Lopez, but last year. Like,
wait, who are you talking about?
yeah, exactly. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about
I missed the first part, and I'm trying to help you through this.
yeah, but I'm ignoring the first part and getting stuck on the second part that doesn't matter as much. Anyway, so let's take Jorge Polanco and Matt Wallner, bring in Bryce Miller, and hopefully the Twins staff can do with him what they've done with other pitchers, like the one they got from the Marlins last year in the Luis Ariz deal.
Pablo.
And
started going sideways on me. I lost you on the camera.
Yeah, I'm trying to sneak away.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of those kind of things where, and it's a young right-handed starting pitcher with a lot of controllable years, lots of things to get the front office excited about him, and a talent to boot, and give some of that Twins depth, put it toward a good cause. And there's a guy, Bryce Miller, who I'd love to have start 30 times for the Twins coming up this season.
So you said Polanco and Wallner.
That's what I said. Yes.
Okay, so Wallner to me is like a young version of Teoscar Hernandez, which for the Mariners, I mean, they were happy with Teoscar. They had Teoscar, a cheaper, younger version who's not going to hit arbitration for a couple of years. Twins in a good spot with outfielders even before you consider adding Teoscar. A good spot is probably overstating it, but they've got a lot of guys who are in a similar spot developmentally. So no, I could get behind that. Sell me on Bryce Miller. Not that it's going to be that difficult, but why him as opposed to any other pitcher his age or his experience level?
Well, some of it is a deal where, it's a guy who's 25, so he's not super young, but he doesn't have turned free agent until like 2030, something like that.
I can't believe it's a real year.
I know. It's like living in the future is a very strange place for lots of reasons. No flying cars and still these years with numbers that don't make a lot of sense. So he's only got 25. His first year was last year. His corresponding numbers are better than his 4.32 ERA. It maybe helped a little bit pitching in Seattle, which is a tough place for some hitters, as I mentioned earlier. But he's not quite a strikeout per inning sort of guy. Great control, though. Pablo wasn't as big of a strikeout guy as, he sort of made good on his potential there after coming to the Twins as opposed to before. He really broke through with that. I think that the Twins pitching team behind the scenes could make this guy just in the same way go from really good rookie to just awesome pitcher still in his younger years, controllable, like I said, for 6 more years. So there's just a lot of upside with this guy. And I think, there are some pitchers who you might like more on other teams, but also it's a situation where, are you going to be able to make a trade? It's harder to make a trade. The Mariners need guys like Polanco and Wallner, very much so. Maybe I'm selling the return short for the Twins, but I also don't think you're going to be able to get. I mean, could you get Miller for Wallner? I don't know. Wallner's 26. I don't know I think we might be hyping Wallner a little bit too much, and at the same time, Polanco is he's not really a shortstop. The Mariners wouldn't need him for that anyway. So I don't think that Bryce is necessarily as good as maybe some other players, but at the same time, I don't know if you can make a trade with a team other than the Mariners, and I don't think you're going to get some other guys in the rotation. But Miller is a guy maybe they could part with for the pieces that the Twins could offer.
Yeah, you're not trading for George Kirby. They've got a few interesting young guys, Wu and Hancock, and a few other guys, or at least that's the names that
I don't think Logan Gilbert's coming. So, Gilbert or Kirby, I think, is a bit much, but Miller's a guy, before he hits his stride that I think you could get, and maybe you could get another piece back. Maybe there's somebody else on the Mariners 40 or 25, 26 man roster that could help the Twins as well.
Yeah, like Dylan Moore or somebody. My final move. So those are your two moves. I like both of them. I think they both make sense. Teoscar, that just feels like so much money for Teoscar, but I can get behind it. I'm trading for Jesus Luzardo for my ace, and I'm giving up. I use the trade website, which I know is not a good idea, but just to approximate value. And I was surprised to see that Matt Wallner had like 23 surplus wins or surplus value of plus 23, which is a very high value. So I tried to approximate to get close to what they said Luzardo was. And the trade is going to be painful, but I'm trading Brooks Lee, Matt Wallner,
I'm okay.
Connor Prelip, and
Okay.
Aaron Sabato. So I'm giving them basically an infielder who should be a ready-made, everyday, I don't know, maybe hit anywhere from second to fifth for you. Wallner is an offensive player. They don't have that type of player for a corner like that.
They sure could use that. Yeah.
Yeah, Prelip is a lottery ticket at this point. Big time stuff, big time potential, but big time injuries. And then Sabato, I mean, the Twins could have added him to the 40-man roster. He was not picked in the Rule 5 draft. But you're talking about a guy with first-round pedigree, some big power. That's the kind of guy the Marlins would take a chance on as the fourth piece in a trade. So, again, Jesus Luzardo for Brooks Lee, Matt Wallner, Connor Prelip, and Aaron Sabato. Your thoughts?
What is Brooks Lee's best position going forward, do you think?
I'm not sure we know, honestly. I'm not sure it matters with the Marlins either. They'll put him at catcher if they think it makes sense.
Right.
I think it might be third base. I don't think it's short. I think it's a 2B, 3B profile, but they played Luis Ariz at second. They played Jazz Chisholm in center. So maybe Brooks Lee will pitch for them. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what he would do.
My thought is something probably ludicrous, and that's that I want Edward Cabrera in the trade too. I just want them.
Two, not
yes. No, in addition to. And I think that's the only way. Brooks Lee has just got a kind of a halo around him, and it was shocking to hear his name. I'm shocked that you would move him, but
I'm keeping Polanco, Julian, Royce Lewis, Carlos Correa.
You are,
I think I have enough to cover. I mean, if they want Emmanuel Rodriguez, it's trading safety for potential. Emmanuel Rodriguez in Miami would be incredible because any player with Hispanic background in Miami, it's a great cultural place for them. But with that said, Brooks Lee to me is the kind of guy where 2 years from now we might be looking and saying, "Oh, it's great. He gets 12 homers a year and hits 280, and he's basically the Jorge Polanco 2.0." Well, if you could have traded Jorge Polanco at any point of his career for an ace or a potential ace, you probably would have done it.
Right.
But I mean, that's not to shoehorn him into that. But I don't see a path to superstardom. I see a path to 3 to 4 WAR ceiling. Very nice player.
Okay.
But I don't know if I see a future superstar. I just don't know.
Maybe I was overrating him a little bit.
Well, no. So on the trade values website, he is by far their preferred, like, value wise over Emmanuel Rodriguez and a few of the other guys at the top of the mark. And in fact, like I said, Wallner's 23 or something like that. So you're getting it was like a 30 or something with Lee, like a 20 something. Actually, I have it right here. I'll just pull it up. It is, unless it reset. Brooks Lee is 33.5. Matt Wallner's 23.1. Prelip is 5.7, and then Sabato as a sweetener is 1.2. That gets you to 63.5, 63.3 for Luzardo. Again, all approximating. We don't know. Like, they have Cody Funderburk worth 20 something surplus for a second-year left-handed reliever who may or may not be very good.
He doesn't
So
project to be a starter, possibly. Is that why that would be?
no, I don't think so. He's
Sure.
kind of a funky lefty reliever. So
Okay.
no, so that's what's confusing me is like he's solid, he's decent, but it's not like you have Josh Hader and it's his second
Yeah,
year.
right.
So
And
I'm going big and I'm going big and hopefully bringing the World Series home.
well, I mean, Luzardo certainly would bring them closer. I would just the only thing I'd be worried about is, boy, Lee is a highly regarded talent, and I don't know the way people are valued these days with so many years of control.
Mhm.
A middle infielder type. Um, I don't know. Is he kind of a Dustin Pedroia? Is that? I don't know. That's probably not even a great
No,
comparison.
it's a fair question because there is a bit of debate in my brain at least how good you can be if your profile is not going to include short. But there's plenty of
True.
great second basemen. It's just not, maybe he's Ian Kinsler. That's a dang good player.
It is a dang good player. It
But
is.
is it Jesus Luzardo for what is it, 3 years of control good?
Right.
I don't know.
Well,
I
you
don't.
give me something to think about, but I'm
Yeah.
afraid. It makes me afraid.
Well, that's all we were trying to do.
Okay.
Again, thanks for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. I'm speaking to you specifically, Dave. No, to the listeners.
Them too.
Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Got some more fun stuff in the works, and then sometimes in the morning I wake up and have a good idea too. So just be glad you're not Dave Brown trying to cater to my every single whim. But Dave, that's all I got for us. It was fun to hang out again.
All right. I'm glad we got rid of Brooks Lee for something good.
Yeah, we'll see how many torches and or pitchforks we find in the comments. I'm thinking it's kind of like that opening scene of Shrek where I don't know if it's the opening scene, but it's one of the first scenes
I
where
know what you mean.
they're in a swamp. So we'll see. But hate clicks are still clicks. You've been listening to Locked On Twins, and we'll see you tomorrow night.